Another box, another week. It's not usual, but last year I set up a merch store on the Orange Pixel website, and to be honest, it's mostly for my own enjoyment and entertainment, because I like having stuff with my graphics on it, my logos, my game art, pixel art. And, I got some new stuff. A new hoodie, a new cap, a new designs. If you like them, check them out. But like I said, it's mostly because I enjoy these things myself. And that's also how I create games. I create games that I like to work on and like to create, and I create them in the way I like to create them. Pretty much. Wow. Cool. So, nothing changes with the game I'm currently working on. I'm creating a certain type of game that I like to create and I think could be interesting. And I honestly have no idea where it's exactly gonna be ending when I release it. So, still a lot of stuff done this week. Let's just dive in. Alright, let's grab a list here because I was all over the place this week. I was doing a lot of stuff in the game code, almost everywhere. Things changed, things tweaked, things got added. It's now a top-down racing game. Alright, sorry, wrong note. No, it's still the same type of game. I didn't do that much damage. The first thing I did this week was sit down, took an hour or so and started just writing down notes because I need some clear direction for this game. So far what I have is that you have a spaceship, you crash and you have to fix it, and that was all I had. So the first thing I did was actually make a list of what type of things would the player need to fix the spaceship. So what are the required items and how can we create those items, and does the player need to craft them or can he find them somewhere? Are they locked behind puzzles? Are they taken by creatures? It took me a while to write down a bunch of stuff, and now I have a little list, so that is really a good focus point to work on. I'm just adding those items first. I'm adding the required items and I'm just figuring out, do I hide them in a certain space? Then I need to create that space and maybe add statues that need to be shoved and pushed and things like that. So clear direction was the first thing I did this week, and just create a list on Trello, where I also have my to-do list and my bug list and my version list of all my games, and I needed a list. I started working on a bunch of scenery and decoration. So far it's just mostly the world you're rocking on, so the floor and the walls and things like that, but I need a lot more decoration to make it an interesting world, and I started adding stone statues and old technology type statues that are all background stuff. And a large part of it is just stupid background stuff. It has no code attached to it. It's just part of the world and the tile map. It's being rendered and no code is being done anywhere. So you can't interact with it as a player, but it's there and it makes the world look pretty. And then we have bigger scenery and decoration items. And right now there's no code behind it, but there can be code behind it. So we can make them interactive and we can have the player check them out or find stuff there or maybe do stuff there. So all that code to handle background scenery, objects and things is now in the game, and we should be able to quickly add new stuff there once we come up with new stuff. So as mentioned, I needed to add items that are actually have a main function, that are required for the player to find or craft, or I don't know, I guess find and craft are the only options right now. So you need to find them or craft them, bring them back to your spaceship and fix your spaceship. Right now I'm just creating one set of those items, So for example, you might have to find a certain type of rock, and then you might have to find a certain object, and I'm creating one version of those things. But since this is all a random thing and the game is supposed to be very random and unique every time you play it, there will be more variations of those type of items. So right now it might be a rock, next time it might be an alien egg from an alien dragon or something like that. So it doesn't really matter how it looks or how it's named, it's just a matter of having that functionality in the game right now, and then you can always create variations of it. Walking around the game world is very relaxing right now. It's very quiet and peaceful and nice environment, but it's also very quiet. So I grabbed my big drive of sound effects libraries and started adding sound effects to various things. So like the footsteps of the player, the chopping of a tree, the campfire, the mechanical door that I added last week is now making sounds. So just the first couple of sounds as I try to build out a soundscape for the whole game. I'm not sure yet what else is going to be needed. There's going to be a lot of stuff that needs sounds, but I hope to actually limit the amount of sound effects so that I share things. Vertical door or a other mechanical thing might all share the same sound effects. And not that I have to add 5 or 6 different sound effects, especially on mobile. That can be a problem. It's just sometimes Android and some Android devices bug out if you have a lot of sound effects. So I tried to stick under at least 70 different sound effects, which is still a lot of sound effects, and not all my games have 70 different sound effects, but I think Space Guns 2 had around that number. So let's try to not go over that amount. So besides adding all those new things to the game, I have also been tweaking everything that was already in the game. Like I mentioned at the start, things weren't all working correctly. I started adding a different type of torch, and then it wouldn't get lit by the campfire, and then once it got lit, it wouldn't light anything else. And there were some bugs in the mechanics, but that's all fixed and solved now, and torches now also have a different lifespan. So a simple torch won't last as long as a torch that's built out of a new item I added to the game, not giving too much spoilers away, but there will be differences like that, and all that stuff is now added and tweaked, and I'll probably keep doing that until the game releases, because this whole system, and the problem with a system like this, as soon as you come up with new ideas, the system might need a little bit of changing and tweaking until the code is unreadable, and that's how bugs happen. And that's it for this week's devlog. A lot of stuff happening, a lot of stuff being done. I'm also working on setting up the Steam page. I finally settled on a name. I mentioned it on Twitter a few weeks ago. Not sure how many people saw it, but I settled on a name. It still sounds okay, so I'm going with that name. There's nothing else that's named like that, so that's safe, I guess. It's short and sweet, and hopefully next week there will be a Steam page up and running so that you can wishlist the game. And that's it for this week. See you next week. Bye. How can I have cat hairs on something that's brand new? Seriously, everybody who has cats knows this. If you have a cat, it doesn't matter where they are, if they get near your clothes or not, you always have cat hairs everywhere.